At 10.
You do the crime, you serve the time. But are the sentences for sex crimes tough enough? A Grand Forks man was just sent to prison for a couple of years for sexually assaulting a young girl.
It sparked questions whether he and others should be spending more time behind bars. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly looked into the impacts of these crimes.
A young girl under the age of 15 was sexually assaulted in Grand Forks. Sadly, it's one of thousands of such cases in the Valley.
We see over 3,000 clients a year in our walls, but we know that there are so many more people in the community directly affected by violence.
33-year-old Derek Mortrud pleaded guilty to solicitation of a minor. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison with 5 years of probation.
The way a person experiences the world after trauma can be so very different from pre-trauma. So the way they think about themselves, other people, the world as a whole, all of that can really change.
Grunbach says a person can potentially live with symptoms after trauma for the rest of their life.
There's depression, anxiety, chemical dependency, the impact of secondary trauma to the families and children that witness it.
While the victim struggles, there is a growing concern that those found guilty of such crimes don't struggle enough, some getting out of jail too soon.
And I think ultimately it's a good sign that people are upset when they consider how much it's going to impact a survivor, what they've been through, potentially how much. I think people get to be outraged about abuse.
We spoke to several defense attorneys about abuse and assault cases. While no one wanted to go on camera, they did say there is no cookie-cutter answer. Different factors come into play. Was there bodily injury? Does the defendant have a history of these crimes? What's the right charge given the circumstances? While the court system is set up to use the law for adequate sentencing, the court of public opinion can be much different, at times leaning on emotion, leaving the two sides at odds over what is just for the accused. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
To learn more about what resources are offered in our area for survivors of these crimes, visit our website, valleynewslive.com.
Moorhead police are asking for your help finding the person up on your TV right now. They say 44-year-old Michael Miller has an open warrant for probation violation. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you can call police.
New information tonight about a North Dakota family slaughtered in northern Mexico last month near the U.S. border. Mexico's president made a visit to the region to learn more about what happened. During a family meeting with the president and his cabinet, officials assured them that at least 4 suspects have been detained in the November 4th killings. The family had lived in northern Mexico for decades and identify as part of the Mormon tradition. 3 young mothers and 6 children were killed in the attack near the border. A drug cartel is suspected in the attack.
A West Fargo man asked on social media, has anyone gotten their mail in West Fargo? He and his neighbors say over the past year, they have barely been getting packages or letters. A woman went to the post office with 50 complaints from neighbors. She says nothing has been done. While no one would talk locally, a regional spokesperson based out of Colorado explained to us the problems may be tied to the significant snow event in the western U.S. And now that roads are clear, shipments of mail have arrived in significant amounts. And since everyone is getting dug out, they are digging in.
I have often seen our mail carrier in our neighborhood, even in the winter, drive down the road with his tailgate open with the mail sitting on the back of the tailgate.
USPS says its drivers are expected to bring packages to homes no matter what the conditions are.
A new study is raising concerns for women everywhere. It says using products like permanent hair dye and chemical straighteners could increase the chances of getting breast cancer.
Valley News Team's Courtney Lockie spoke with hairstylists who say there are safer options.
Whether it's a box coloring or a trip to the salon, a lot of people change their hair color. But a new study is raising concern, a possible link between permanent hair dye, chemical straightening, and an increased chance for breast cancer.
Women who reported using permanent hair dye or chemical straighteners had a higher risk of developing breast cancer over an 8-year follow-up period.
It's not scaring everyone away.
I don't feel like it's because you got your hair colored and that's why you have breast cancer. I think there's chemicals in the food we eat, there's chemicals in everything.
Jamie Warkentine has been a hairstylist for nearly a decade. She says that the best thing you can do to protect yourself is to do your research and to investigate what kinds of chemicals are in your hair products. And just up the road, another stylist, Ashley Trappin, tells us it's not just the clients that should be doing their homework.
I use a lot of out of the state products. I use a lot of European products because they are all a little more natural.
Both stylists tell us if you see the word formaldehyde or carcinogen on the label, run.
See what your stylist is using, and if it's something that you are unsure of, you can go ahead and ask them. If they can change the product, they can. If not, maybe find another stylist.
And if this latest study has you a little worried about the stuff you're putting in your hair, there are a lot of natural brands out there. One of them the stylists suggest is Aveda. In the meantime, as research develops, experts say you should take it easy on some of these chemicals you put in your hair. In Fargo, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
Here's something else to consider. Experts say, if possible, try switching to a semi-permanent dye.
The state's first coding school is opening in downtown Fargo. Emerging Digital Academy prepares students for tech careers in just 5 months. It's an effort to meet the growing demand for software development talent. Classes start in April, and you can apply at emergingacademy.org.
There's a beautiful work of art taking shape in Mankato that people driving by are compelled to stop and experience. You can't miss it because instead of the canvas, the artist is using 135-foot tall grain silos. Guido Van Helten has been using this metal basket lift to reach his canvas, these 135-foot Ardent Mills silos. Up and down he goes every day, and from across the Minnesota River, you can see what's almost like a photograph taking shape. Guido is an Australian artist. He has painted murals around the world, including several in the States. Each has a theme reflecting its location. He got the idea for Mankato's mural after attending an annual powwow. This is one of his largest paintings.
A new grant from North Dakota's Tourism Department is looking to help communities across the state. The grant supports projects that will draw people into downtowns, emphasizing unique ideas. It will also match investment dollar for dollar up to $10,000.
Really, there's a lot of opportunities, and that's we wanted to keep it wide enough that it would appeal to communities across the state.
The department is accepting applications from January through February.
An environmental group has put the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources on notice, saying it plans to sue the agency for failing to protect Canada lynx from trappers. The Center for Biological Diversity says the state hasn't complied with a 2008 court order meant to protect the rare cat from being caught by trappers who were going after other species. The group says the state and federal agencies have documented 16 lynx captured over the past decade, including 6 deaths.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait weather.
Chilly temperatures as clear skies have allowed us to cool off very quickly, and some low clouds and fog haze setting up across the region as well, as after that low-level atmosphere fills up with moisture from all the melting going on, we're starting to see that form some fog in some areas. Here's a look at our readings at Hector. 21 degrees, wind only 3 miles per hour from the south and east. 21 also the temperature in Moorhead. Here is a look at area visibility as it has dropped way down to around 1¼ miles in the Wahpeton area. Oaks also reduced visibility in and around your area as well. 5, your visibility tonight in Thief River Falls. Got a great question from an emailer asking about nighttime visibility. Who can see 10 miles at night? Well, that's how far we can see in that atmosphere. So if you can see the light towers that are 10 miles away, then yes, your visibility is indeed 10 miles even in the dark of night. All right, here's a temperature of 12 degrees in Wahpeton, 15 in Grand Forks, 19 in Valley City, 27 this hour in Roseau. We're all over the board temperature-wise. Few clouds streaming across northeast North Dakota into northwest Minnesota, and still a few flurries showing up. Not all of this reaching the ground, but where we see some of the darker blues here, basically from southern Roseau County heading into northwestern Beltrami County, likely a few flakes making their way down to the ground. Temperatures tonight are going to be steady to slowly rising because our winds will be from the south. So we're going to have patchy areas of dense fog, and look at this, a chance for some snow that will be greatest from Highway 2 and points north. Now, Grand Forks, you have a chance at seeing some morning flakes, but the chances will be better to your north and to the east. Could be some accumulation by the morning drive up in the far northern valley near Cavalier, near Pembina, and in Kennedy, in the Hallock area as well. As we go through the morning hours and towards noon, this will exit off to the east. It will leave behind around an inch or so. Some of you could see 2, and maybe even just a little bit north of that, near the international border, we could see closer to 3 inches in isolated locations. Behind the system, cold north winds and cloudy skies. So temperatures on our Thursday afternoon will not be as warm as those we've had the last couple of days, although it will still be mild relative to some air that's just right around the corner. In Fargo, we rise and shine with temperatures in the low 20s. We may sneak up to around 25 to 30 degrees briefly. Look at this, with those north winds finally starting to tug that cold Canadian air our way. We'll be on our way down very rapidly in the late afternoon and evening hours. 18 on your way home from school in Langdon, 28 in Oaks. So a 10-degree difference across our north to south region. 30 gorgeous degrees in Detroit Lakes and nearly that same reading in the Bemidji area for your afternoon drive. Now, after we get through Sunday, look at this cold nonsense working its way down. The white colors, that's the 0 line. Anything above that, sub-zero temperatures. And when you see the pinks and the purples, ridiculous cold, 20s below. That's right, we're going to see some mighty cold air both at night and during the daylight hours as we go into much of next week. Beautiful photo by Tiffany here of the wintry scene with the hoarfrost on the trees. Thanks, Tiffany. That's from Comstock. Here's a look at a cooling for the close of the work week. And then as we head into next week, it looks like the temperatures will go down, down, down. How low will we go? Teens and 20s below on Tuesday. And on Wednesday, there is a chance of snow Sunday into Monday.
It's going to hurt.
It's going to be painful.
It's going to be painful.
Up next on Valley News Live 10 at 10, a special story tonight about a Fargo man who continues to give back to those who need it most.